Hi, my name is Ruthie Skye, and I'm from the city of Sacramento, and you are watching Grown Man Sessions with Timothy Ryan.
What's up, you guys? This is Timothy Rhyme. You're tuning into Grown Man Sessions. And man, is today a very, very, very special Grown Man Sessions. I need you guys to understand that this has been like a pretty a long time coming for this kind of interview. When I first started doing Grown Man Sessions, I had a bunch of friends and family asking me why I didn't have any women on. And I really wanted to keep it geared, letting the fellas talk about their stuff and kind of, just keeping it male friendly. But then, like, I really realized that how much the women are supporting this platform and how much they have to contribute to this platform. So, this is our very first episode featuring a woman on Grown Man Sessions. And I have the honor of introducing my
Hey.
homegirl, Ruthie Skye. What's up,
Hi,
Ruthie?
everybody. Hello. Thank you for having me on. Thank you. It's an honor. It's exciting to be the first woman on your podcast, and can't wait to dive deep into our conversations. Let everyone know how we met. Tell everyone how I pulled up when I first met you, what I pulled up in, just in case my people are watching it too.
Oh, man. I think that whole time frame is a blur to me. You got to refresh my memory.
What? I pulled up like in a Honda with a transformer on the hood.
Oh,
Remember? Like
yeah. Oh, see, that's how I
the,
knew. That's how I knew me and Ruthie were going to be connected for a long time.
the transformer. Yeah, I remember you gave me a hard time about it.
Oh,
That was before you knew I was a car show model, though.
was it because it was a Decepticon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah, that's why. I'm an Autobot. I'm a good guy.
Mm. Good guys can be bad guys too. They're
I
just better
ran.
at it.
I ran with the Decepticons back then, but inside I was really an Autobot.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But yeah, I know Ruthie for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. We've worked on projects a few times here and there. Like she helped me with some first dirt stuff back in the day. She did some modeling for us on some merch. And yeah, we've always stayed connected and like it's kind of dope for me to like to have seen your journey to where you were to where you are now because I feel um like you've completely like you bounce back, but then you completely like leveled up from where you bounced back from. You know what I mean?
Aw, like I clapped back.
Yeah,
I
and I
clapped
mean
back.
that's in our line of work. Like that's not easy. That's not easy.
Yeah.
So I
Mm,
gotta give you your credit. Like
thank you.
I respect the
Thank
work
you.
ethic. I respect the dedication, and you're just a smart business person to be able to figure out how to work your way through that.
Yeah, it trips me out to hear people say that though, because honestly, like in my world, I'm just taking it day by day and seeing where life takes me. So to hear that I'm actually succeeding or to hear the corrective criticisms coming from the outskirts means a lot to me because I'm so focused on what I'm doing in here. Like
hmm
everything else is background noise. But I'm glad I'm making an impact and I'm glad I got my comeback, I guess, because I took a major step back for this comeback for sure.
Well, that's good that you're like tuning out all the noise because then that means you're focused on you and what you're trying to accomplish, and that's always like the best route, in my opinion.
Right. Right. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Ruthie Campos. I'm actually known as Ruthie Skye in the lowrider car show world. I'm a mom of three. I'm a lover, a sister, a neighbor, a believer, all in one. Just in case you didn't know who I am. Timothy knows who I am, but out there they don't know me. You gotta let them know who I am.
Yes, yes, my bad. Yeah, I mean, Ruthie to me is like a sister because, like I said, we come from like a very
Yeah.
similar background, and
Hmm.
to see her have come as far as she's come, like it's always nice for me like to be an outside observer of somebody that I've seen like go through their struggles, but always like be able to figure things out and be able
Yeah.
to still be positive, be able to be productive, be able to be like helpful. You know what I mean? And that's how I see you. So like like I said, I just always want to be like a part of those kinds of like interactions because I feel like it helps me too, like because I'm learning from
Yeah.
other people, like how they're grinding, how they're figuring things out, how they're staying motivated. And then like it helps me like stay on that same type of energy.
That's good. That's good that you want to stay on that level, on that frequency too. I think for me, a big part of who I am and how I was raised had a huge impact on where I'm at today. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like my parents have always instilled in me to treat everyone like they're somebody, be respectful, be kind, be generous. And having all of those traits and qualities, I feel did me good, because coming back, I was respected, I was loved, I was welcomed back into the community, which I'm super, super blessed, super blessed. So yeah, I just had to show love out there where love is due.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always a reflection of you. You know, when you develop these relationships, like if even if you step away from them, you can come back. However many years later, and they're still
Yeah,
there.
yeah, you can come back respectfully. Yeah,
Yep.
respectfully. Yeah.
I
So
know.
what
Well,
kind of
I
questions?
I, I talked about this with Joey last week, and we were talking about our relationships and how important it is to like keep them strong, and how you got to invest in them. So like it resonates with me because I feel like back in the day, like I did burn some bridges that I wish I hadn't, and it was all because I just didn't know any better at the time.
Yeah, see, that's the part of being at the I wouldn't say level, because when I say level, it doesn't mean I'm higher or I'm better than anybody. Just I've matured in a certain area, and there's an area that you probably matured, and if we were comparing levels, I'm at a lower level. But where I'm at in life, I learned to forgive people. If people knew better, they would do better. If they
Hmm.
didn't do better, then I know personally that it's not anything personal. This person is coping. This person is going through something in life, mentally, physically, emotionally. It has nothing to do with me. I'm going to keep it pushing. I'm going to keep it positive, and I'm still going to continue to be me.
Hmm.
And that's where I'm at in life. And it's doing me well, so I
Yeah,
can't let it go.
that's a beautiful thing. I mean, just to have that mentality is always like it's like a reflection on how like you care for yourself. You know what I mean? To
Yeah,
to a
because
higher degree.
I can't give what I don't have, and I definitely love myself. I love myself enough to put myself in situations that I know I'm going to experience growth from, development, because if you want to grow in life, there comes so much pain, there comes so much suffering, there comes a lot of hurt, there comes a lot of days of lamenting, but all of that's a process of getting you where you need to get. I always, I
Hmm.
always, I always tell my kids or tell my boys, when you're crying, it's not a bad thing as a man to cry. You're letting go of your old self and you're accepting your new self to come in. And so it's a loss, it's a death, it's an experience. And
Speaking
so
of growth and like in growing, like it kind of leads me into this idea of being a grown man. What do you feel like are characteristics of a grown man in your perception?
a grown man, in my perception, in my world, is a man that's free, like free of guilt, free of self condemnation, free of self tormenting, free of lust, free of desires of the flesh, desires of the world, materialistic, people who can see that for what it is and why it's needed, but also see what it's worth and how it has no value. It's dead. It's like it's empty. So to be able to see yourself free from everything and whole, healed, happy. And of course, all of this applies to me too. Like I practice what I preach. I practice what I preach too. So I apply that in my life too. I'm definitely one of those people that if I say it, then I'm applying it too. And if I'm not, call me out. That's why I feel like as a person, as an individual, it's best to isolate yourself from everything and figure out who you are first before the universe, before the world, before music, before women try to tell you who you are. And it's like once you know who you are, you're walking solid. Like you can walk into a room full of bull, feel confident because you know who you are, and there's no temptation, there's no amount of money, there's no amount of females, there's no amount of material things that can make you happy. Never. I know people who have great wealth and they're depressed and they're lonely and they're sitting in all their funds, still being greedy in it too, still being greedy with their funds, but they're miserable. I know people in other countries who have nothing, who use newspapers to wipe their own ass, and they appreciate that newspaper. They appreciate life. They appreciate nature. They appreciate the world. They appreciate the universe. They appreciate God for all and everything. And that's where I want to stay at, in that realm, the spiritual realm. That's what gets me
it's,
by.
it's so important. I think a lot of guys that I've known, including myself, do have a hard time of like understanding what really would make us happy, like deep down inside.
For me, like with my boys, it's like go and satisfy whatever it is you want to satisfy. Like the fantasies that you have, everything that you want in your head, go get it. But I can guarantee that it's not going to satisfy you. Once you obtain it, it's meaningless. It's kind of like the Psalms, the book of, is it Ecclesiastes? Ecclesiastes in the Bible. It just, Solomon's like, everything's meaningless. I tried this, I tried that, I tasted this, I tasted that, and all of it was worth nothing. It was meaningless. I took that into consideration, and it is meaningless. So I can walk into the world. I can walk in, when I mean the world, I mean like the masses, the society world, and know who I am inside, and not get sucked in by what is not, and I feel like it's super important to discover who you are, of taking that time to really listen to yourself inside, and nature has a way of doing that. The sun, the sunrise, the sunset, the ocean, the mountains, nature has a huge way of bringing who you are out, where you're not where you're away from the noise, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful once you get to that point. And I feel like it's a repetition. It's not a place that you get to and you're there. No, it's a continuous practice. So that's what I would recommend as a woman.
They say that about like meditation, like if you meditate a lot and you end up being able to drown out the noise, you can finally start to hear like what yourself is trying to tell yourself, and like you said, it's not just like you can't just do it once and then you got it all figured out. It's like you got to really like dedicate and commit to that process in order to like move towards it, you know what I mean, and like and try to like get in that space more often. But what do you think, like, for men that are kind of wrapped up in their fantasy still, like maybe they're, in their 30s, maybe in their 40s, and they're still wrapped up in their fantasies. They're still kind of like trying to figure things out. Like what do you think that they can do to maybe slow down and maybe try to find that inside themselves that would make them happy?
As a woman, and I'm a different type of breed too. My species is rare, but as a woman, I would say nothing. Don't do anything about it. Keep doing your thing and let that thing finally become a disgust, something that you're so tired with, and you finally let it go. It's like telling kids no, not to touch things because they might get hurt isn't going to stop the child from touching it,
Yeah.
but letting the child experience what happens, and from there on the child can decide if they want to continue that pain or continue that thing that they were doing and get hurt, or come back. People were I feel like, as people, as a woman, as a wife, as a sister, as a mom, I'm no one to tell any person, any other individual, what they should do and what they can't do. But I do know that once you get an excessive amount of something, you become tired of it and you no longer want it, and you begin to want something more from that. I feel like if they already know they have a problem, don't like, I don't know. I feel like I want to say not to condemn your own self for it. Just know that we're human. Everybody has a demon, or everybody has a problem that they're working with, and nobody's exempt. Nobody's exempt from that.
Yep.
And you're doing the best that you can where you're at, and you're in a good place if you're wanting to make progress and improvements to become a better you. It's when you're there and you just don't give a fuck, and by any means necessary you get to where you want to get that temporary fulfillment. That's concerning. That's where I'm like, nah, I'm not good with that. You know better, but you don't do better. That's the
Yeah.
scary place to be.
I don't like to like belabor this point, but I almost died when I was in like 2011. And people always ask me like, well, how did you like, turn it around? And I'm like, because I felt like if I made the same mistake again, like I would feel like the biggest idiot in the world. Like
No,
if I
don't
almost
feel that
died,
way though.
no, but if I almost died and then I just kept doing the same things, I would have personally felt like I'm just
Mm.
there's more to me than just this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there is more to you than just that. I think once you get that desire, once you get that spark, once you get that hunger,
Yeah.
there is more to that. That's your inner being, that's your soul telling you that there's more to life than what you think. And you don't have to stay encapsulated in time, or you don't have to stay where you're at. You keep it pushing, you keep it struggling. That's my goal every day. And if I get somewhere where I don't know where that where is going to be, I guess a place of peace where I don't have to worry about money, because at first money wasn't an issue for me, but then I'm starting to realize that I need money to make changes. I need money
Hmm.
to do good changes, bad changes. I need money to help other people. So at the end of the goal, I want to make sure I have enough to help.
Of course. Yeah. But like you said, like you have an intention of wanting to do something with that material thing, as opposed to like having that material thing be the thing that makes you happy.
You can have things, you just can't let those things have you. Once those things have you, you lost your power.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think the objects, they're the shiny object syndrome, it only
Hmm.
lasts for like a very short amount of time. Like
The
that
shiny,
that
it's bro. It don't even gotta be shiny nowadays. It could be rustic. It could be vintage. It could be rustic. It could be vintage. It could be plastic, bro. Anything is good for the eye. Everything is pleasing to the eye. Keep it real.
That's true. Just that quick fix.
Yeah, that quick fix. Period. Let's not
Yeah.
let's not shame the toothless girls. Let's not shame the crackheads. Let's not shame no one. Everyone looks good at a certain point in time. So
That's true. But yeah, I mean, with that short term like satisfaction, it usually doesn't have like any long term like value
no,
to you
no, it
deep
makes
down
you feel
inside.
worse.
Yep.
Worse. You feel like you're
Exactly.
taking a step up, and in reality, you're taking three steps down. By the time you're
Yeah.
done with that high, that just experience, that 2 minute experience, that ecstasy. Let's just say that ecstasy.
I'm reading this book right now called Atomic Habits, and I swear, like the chapter I just read was talking about this. So tell me what you think about this. He says that the things that are usually good for you in the short term are usually not good for you in the long term, and the things that you
Mhm.
usually have to sacrifice in the short term are usually things that are good for you in the long term.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree
Yeah,
with it 100.
yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like, I spent too much time, like, in the past, like wanting to chase these short term highs that just don't last. So now I'm trying to establish something that's going to give me long term fulfillment, long term like satisfaction. But it means that like in the short term, I'm not going to really get that high. I'm not going to get
You
that
will.
feeling.
I say you do. I say you get a different type of high now. You get a healthy high. You get a
That's a
high
good
of
one.
achievement. You get a high of discipline. You get a high of dedication. You get a high of, staying committed to what you said you were gonna do. Like there's a different type of high. It's just like when you go to the
That's
gym, you
true.
get a high. You get a high from that too. It's everybody has their own churches or their own ways of letting go of the pain and refiltering new positivity, new energy, happiness, joy. We all have choices in life and everything, and our partners, and how we want to see or view the day. We all have the same amount of day, but different. But we all choose to spend our time differently. So, what you're spending your time on is where you're headed. What your goal is. Where you're going, what your direction in life.
Dude,
It could be so.
I really, really like what you said. You said a healthy high, and I couldn't like
Yeah.
I was trying to find the words for it, but like I feel like that's like a perfect way of describing like a certain kind of mindset that you kind of have to like
Mhm.
develop.
Because it is a mindset. It is a like an experience, a climax experience. It's the same experience that you get when you're doing sexual behaviors or sexual patterns. Is that high? It's that good feel. It's the endorphins. You get that.
Mm-hmm.
You get that without having to do the things that everybody thinks they have to do in order to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like once they mature and they're chasing a healthy high, then that's a different place to be, because now you're projecting that. Now you're so saturated, you're so filled with it, you're pouring it out because you have so much to give. And so when you're at that place in life, you want to help others, you want to extend the hand, you want to be that
Oh man, we found the title of the episode right now, but I hope you know.
healthy high.
Yeah.
Hey, high five, high
High five.
five. All right, we should patent that.
But I'm telling you, like I think like just having that mindset, because I feel like during my transformation, I've developed that relationship with myself to where I can be proud of myself when I'm like doing workouts,
Oh
or
yeah.
when I'm doing podcasts, or when I'm doing like just things that I feel like I should be doing, like because
Mhm.
it's good, it's productive, you know. And I think like if any of you guys that are listening, if you get anything from this, just know that like that you can do it too. Like all of us can do it. It's just gonna take that discipline of like being like, okay, like I'm gonna take this step, but I'm gonna tell myself that it's a good thing. I'm gonna allow myself to enjoy it in a good way, because a lot of us guys, like we feel like if we do certain things, like we shouldn't be feeling some certain type of way. You know what I mean?
I think every day is a day that you either reward yourself or you learn from it too. Like don't be so hard on yourself. I feel with
Mm-hmm.
people, with men, with women, don't be so hard on yourself because you're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days. But just because you have the bad days doesn't mean that's it. Like fuck it. Like just this is who I am. This is who I'm gonna be. No, you just keep it pushing. Next day, try it
Hey,
again. If
yep,
you can only give it your 90, give it your 90, but it's a progress. And eventually when you're not even realizing it, you'll notice you made a change in your life and you're like, you deserve to treat yourself, whatever that treat would be, as long as it's a healthy treat or an unhealthy treat too. Moderation, moderation.
everything
Don't
in
let it have you.
moderation.
Don't let it have you. Yeah, for sure. Everything's in moderation. If you
For
get too
sure.
much of it, you become addicted.
I think you said it like when we first started talking when I asked you about a grown man, and you said you mentioned about being like a whole man. Like, what do you mean by that?
Whole, by being healed, whole, hungry, always on the quest, like life doesn't stop because you feel like you reached your destination, like it gets tricky with that because I feel like when you're in a relationship and you have two people who are reaching for the same goals, then you guys can both become a powerful couple. But then you also have people who are in relationships to where they're staying still for that person because they love that person and they're sacrificing who they are for their relationship. But I mean, you have various different types of relationships. So I feel like if you're in one of those relationships and that's working for you, great. But if it's not, then maybe you should reconsider and know and making the best move that's right for you and that person, even though it may feel like hurt or it may feel like you're destroying that person's life. At the end of the day, you're making a better, healthy choice for the both of you. And that move is a selfless move and it's a move that you want for the both and for your children if there's children involved, I feel.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. I think when
Yes.
you factor in when you factor in personal development into like your relationships, like if you're not with somebody that's kind of like trying to grow too, it can become really challenging.
But some people can handle that too. I mean, I have best friends who are powerful people and they're in relationships where all they need is just a wife or a husband to love them. Like that's all they want. That makes them happy and that makes them the powerful individual that they are. But then you have people like you and I who want powerful individuals to be standing alongside with us. Like I feel like I want someone who's going to be at my level because at the end of the day this is kingdom and I'm trying to do kingdom with my person, whoever this person may be, wherever they're at, wherever they at. But yeah, like that's my desire is to be a powerful couple, not like the Kardashians, not like the West kind of couples, more like people who are thriving and doing life together and being an exemplary couple because they choose to both be dedicated, loyal, faithful, hungry, healed, whole. Yeah, that's a process.
Yeah, because even like just like you talk about being healed, like even that process in itself, like when you're doing that, if you have a partner that's not really participating in that or understands what that is, like that could be hard.
It is because you're trying to heal and they haven't even came to the realization that healing is an option, They're still stuck in their ways and in their past and to them they're like I said, they're in a time capsule. And to get them out of there mentally it's tough. You can't at the end of the day, like what we said before, you can't change anybody. You want to extend the branch, you want to save that person, but at the end of the day, I feel like you gotta do what's best for you. Follow your heart, follow your calling, and you can't go wrong if you're following your calling.
What I'm getting from you basically is like just growth in general, but intentional growth. Like
Yeah,
understanding the areas where you want to and maybe need to grow as opposed to like having somebody else tell you like you need to be doing something.
everyone wants the same thing. It's like this book that I'm reading. Like, it says everybody was looking for the treasure, right? And so the person who hid it, which was God, was like hid the treasure in a place that no one will find, right? So people searched high and they searched low, they searched wide and they searched near. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the book, the place that had the treasure wasn't here.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's like it's the same thing for us. Like we have to have that desire to first want to know and want to get better and want to do better and want to heal. But a lot of people aren't ready for that yet. Right now, I feel like we're making noise, but it's going to be the next generation to come and the next generation that's going to start applying it. Because my son is 14, and to me, he's the smartest person in the world. If you ask me, like he's only 14. That boy got wisdom, he got knowledge, he got it all. I think we need to have those serious conversations with our kids. And if you want your kids to be better versions of you, then you need to become it first. So once you become 18, I feel like that's not an excuse anymore. You need to be a grown ass man now. Like you need to accept the fact that you have problems, and that's okay. We're all screwed up. We're all broken. Let's work this together. Let's grow together, or I'm growing alone, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and that like you keep saying, you said it several times, like it just makes us human.
That's what exactly what we are. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make accidents, you know, and it all depends on the person, you know, like how much a person's willing to tolerate, how much a person is willing to accept that, you know, that they want to make those necessary changes. But you discovered that you wanted to make that change at what age?
Oh man, what was it, 10 years ago? Well, I take that back. I knew that I needed to start making changes when my daughter was born and she's 14, but I didn't really start like making like the real, like deep down, like life changing changes until 2011. So like 10 years ago.
And you were raised with a female dominating household, right?
Hmm.
So it was a little different. How would you say your experience being raised without a father impacted you? Were you angry a lot? Did you disrespect? Well, you couldn't have disrespected women because you were raised in a house full of women. So you were a player.
I love women, like not in that way.
Women are beautiful.
I have a very profound like respect for women in general because of the fact that like I was raised by nothing but strong women that like
Hmm.
made sacrifices and like changed their lives around just to like give me a better like life, you know. But not having a dad was like really hard because after a while you start realizing like I don't have a dad. Like you see other kids having it, you see
You
how
feel
like they're doing.
incomplete.
You do.
You
And then
think you're
as
incomplete.
yeah, yeah. And like as I got older and I got into like my teenage years and I started like going looking for answers, since I didn't have that father figure to tell me these things, I went to the streets and I looked for those answers in the streets. And I found those answers in the streets, but they weren't the right answers, you
Hmm.
know? So I had to like try to adjust like my perception on these things later on in life as opposed to like younger in life if somebody were to have told me, you know?
Do you think if someone would have told you, you still would have made those decisions, or you think you were still going to make the decisions that you were going to make to get to where you're at now?
I've had this conversation with other guys that have been in similar situations, and I tell people that I'm 99.9% like confident that I wouldn't have made these same decisions. I
Mm.
would have made better decisions because I remember
You
thinking at
just
that
didn't
age.
care, right?
No, I just remember thinking at that age, like, man, I just really want some guidance. Like, I really want somebody to tell me like what to do because I didn't know what to do.
So did you get like an instinct in your gut telling you that that's the right thing or the wrong thing to do?
I
Because
knew I
normally
was
when
doing the
I'm
wrong
about to
thing.
do, okay,
I knew
that's
I
what
was
I'm
doing the
trying
wrong
to say
thing.
now. Because I feel like at the end of the day, like we all get gut feelings. When you know something's wrong, you get that cringe in your gut. You know, like you know you're doing it wrong. But if you can get away with it, then I'm gonna get away with it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna blame the fact that this person gave me the advice versus this person. Because because in reality, that's really what it was. You're cheating yourself. I mean, I've
Yeah,
cheated myself plenty of times too. I still
for
cheat
sure.
myself.
No, it's true. I mean, I think that like having a father is so important because like now that I'm a dad, like I realize like how much of an impact I'm having on my kids' lives, you know?
Hmm.
Because like my daughter, you know, just being in her life, like I could tell, you know, like I wasn't my mom's only kid. Like I had a sister. And so I saw what not having a father did to her, you know? So like I never wanted that for my kids. So I had to dig deep and I had to really like figure out like, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm in their lives and being a good example? You know, and if that meant like cutting out all the nonsense and all the BS out of my life, then fine, I'm down. Like that's an easy choice.
Yeah, that's why I left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I left. I was like, nah, my family comes first. Like, I love my kids. Like, those are moments that you're not going to get back in. They say that your child ends up dating a person that is similar to their mom or have similar qualities to their dad. And that's true because I feel like, I think we talked about that before. We talked about how I looked for a role model that was similar to my father and realized that that man doesn't even exist. You know, the person that I put my father at, or the pedestal that I put my father at, like now that I'm an adult, he's not even that person. I'm like, Dad, this person don't even exist. No wonder I'm sitting here falling for like Cinderella and Snow White and all that crap. That's not even true. Like that person don't exist. You meet someone in life, you see if you're compatible, if you could do the rest of your life with this person, and that's it. It has nothing to do with magic. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with astrology, stars. It's life is about you making your own choices. You decide to be with that person. If it don't work out, shake on it, call it quits, say we tried, and walk your separate ways. That's it. Like no hard feelings. We make things difficult because an unhealed person ends up with another unhealed person, and then it's like toxic. And then that unhealed person tries to come and talk to a healed person, and I want to help them heal, but realize that I'm hurting more than I'm helping. So I got to walk out too. You know, it's just being in the moment, making right choices, making better choices for yourself, for your future kids. I mean, for your kids, for your future grandkids, making better choices. Being a grown ass woman and being a grown ass man is making better choices. Will you pass all the tests? Probably not, but you'll at least make an attempt to pass 90% of the test. Like get a B at least, bruh. In life, get a B in life, like at least.
Heck yeah. I always say that like being a grown man, like it's not like a destination. It's just a continuous journey. You know, like it's always like a learning process. It's like, yeah, we're all gonna make mistakes, but you know, like I just try to show up every day to make sure that my kids can see what that looks like. You know, because that's like my biggest motivation is I want them to see what it looks like to show
And
up
they're
and just try.
watching.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like what's important too is communicating with them, is letting your children see your failures too, and saying, "Hey, look, I don't have my ducks in a row either, and I don't expect you guys to, but this is part of life." Like watching or having you guys watch me do life is helping them, is educating them, is preparing them for reality and not for Snow White and Cinderella and this my dreamy man. And all of that good stuff. Like, don't give them false impressions. Don't give them false hopes. Like, keep it 100 with yourself. And when you're 100 with yourself, you can be 100 with everyone else.
For sure.
That's super important. That's like a red flag. Is if like you're in a healed place and you start dating and you realize that this person has so many flags, you're just gonna they're either gonna draw you back down with them, or you finally come to the realization that this ain't the person, this ain't the one. You know, you gotta walk away.
Well, Ruthie, before we go, I just wanted to ask you, because I ask all my guests and I always love the answers. What do you think is the most important thing you've learned in your journey so far?
I've learned in my journey. I would say today, I feel like what I experienced and learned in my journey is just how to be patient with myself and how to love myself each day. That's it. Just be patient with yourself and love yourself each day. That's the best reward you can give yourself. And if you haven't done that, like take the time every night to like just appreciate all of the good things that you've done for just the day, you know, like meditate on that. Like when I was taking yoga, they would tell you like to take the time to thank your feet. And yeah, it sounds silly and ridiculous and kindergartenish, but if you think about it, your feet take you to and from. Your feet carry all your weight. Your feet, you know, go where you tell it to go. You know, and it's just taking the time to appreciate yourself and to love yourself. And if you can love yourself, you can love everybody else. The world would be a better place if we all love each other.
Oh man, I love it, man. I think that self-love is way too rare amongst people that I know.
They don't
And
know how. That's why these podcasts are necessary. Learning to love yourself is finding who you are. You know, like take like a moment, like a day, or maybe start off with 10 minutes a day of just being off social media, being off anything, you know, off the television, and just take that time to just like take that time with yourself, see what it's like being by yourself. Like it gets pretty boring, so it's like you're expecting another individual to entertain you, yet you can't even entertain yourself. So it's like learn how to entertain yourself, read a book, or if you don't know how to read, like just take on a practice, take on an instrument, go to yoga, take go to the gym, you know, just start a healthy habit. Start there first, and then realize what good that makes you feel to know that you've accomplished something for the day. Like, that's it. Start there. Do something for yourself. Healthy habits.
Healthy habits and healthy highs. That's what
Healthy
we're
habits,
talking about.
healthy highs, healthy love, healthy communication, healthy vulnerability, being yeah, be a healthy transparent person. Just be healthy, period. If you got a messed up tooth, go get that checked. That's self-love. Like, if you got bad health, go love yourself first. Don't depend on another person. You gotta do it for yourself. Love yourself. If not, it's gonna be bad.
Oh man, so true, Ruthie, and I really do appreciate you taking the time to to share your story and your experiences with us here on Grown Man Sessions. I myself, as a grown man, appreciate you sharing, because I think coming from the female perspective just hits different for a lot of us guys. So thank you. I respect you a lot, and I really do think that this is going to help change the conversation.
Yeah, it should soften it up and also sharpen it too.
Yep. Before we go, where can people check out your stuff, or see what you got going on?
So basically I sell posters. I sell posters. I do modeling, I do videos, I do appearances, I do it all. You can hit me up on Instagram, and that's under Ruthie, RUTHIE _916. I do have a Facebook account. I'm rarely on there. To catch me on there is just impossible. You can email me directly at Ruthie Skye. It's Ruthie, RUTHIESKYE @gmail.com. Also, if you guys want to have me back on the podcast and there's a topic that you guys want to discuss that you feel that I might be able to enlighten, decode, or give you my perspective, let Tim know, and I'll be back, and I'll see you guys soon.
Yep. And we'll put the link to her Instagram account in the description, so you guys don't have to try to figure it out. But yeah, if you want Ruthie to speak on something else, drop it in the comments below and let us know, and we'll get her back on for sure. And but like I said, thank you, Ruthie. I always say before I go is that one person could change the world, but it's one person at a time. And right now, that one person is you. Fellas, give yourself some healthy love. Take care of yourselves. Be patient with yourselves. Get those healthy highs. I'm telling you, it's worth it. You're gonna start feeling different and looking at things different.
For sure.
And yeah, just tune in for another Grown Man Sessions next time, whether our guest is a man or a woman. I hope that you guys are getting something from it. All right. So thank you, Ruthie.